Howdy everyone. Today I'm going to try to make this piece here. It is a arbor for a special kind of hole saw that I saw somebody needing online, and figured it'd just be a fun challenge to make. It's pretty standard except for the thread on the end is a 1/2-16 4-start thread. And I already tried to make one. Obviously I did not have my end train set up correct, so figured out what I was doing wrong, and I'm going to try and make another. Alright, so let's get our piece of stock roughed in here. Edge should be fine. I'm not really sure why it was sparking up there. It really needs a tail center, but I kind of don't want to have a drill center there, so we'll see what I can do without one. My 12 cal piece, it's acting like I'm going to need one. Like 100 thou on the diameter. Normally I could take off like this. Alright, 278, 276, so we need to go about 15 more. Interesting, still got 15 to go. Not sure why this thing is cutting so funky. All worn out, I guess. Alright, let's skip ahead. That's close enough right there, though. So now we need to take off that 1 1/4 down to 3/4 inch. Hook scale back out. Alright, about there. That's my indicator. Should be able to take off 200 normally, but this bar is kind of slender, so I'm only take about 100. Okay, I got my finished feed rate set. Take a measurement. 800 on the dot. 801 by 25. Of course, it won't cut 25. It never does. $77, $79, $78. Looks like we need to take off about 28,000. Alright, right on the money. A couple pins down. I'm just going to touch that with the file just to smooth it out. I'll make it a little undersized, but it is what it is. Yeah, half fell into 7/10 under. That's fine for collet work. Could be better. Alrighty, I need to part this guy off, and I want to part it off at 2 1/4 plus a little bit of change inches. That looks to me like we got a little over 5, so we can actually go ahead and be, you know, a little zealous with it. Okay, speed way down. Speed's at a good spot. Okay, and then a little oil here, and part away. There we have it. And now, because there's a good chance we'll screw this up, I'm going to go ahead and make another one off camera. Now let's go camera. Alright, we have just over 2/16 to go. 851, we're going for 837 and a half. It'd be basically 37,000. This isn't too critical. $815.5, that's fine. Perfectly fine. Okay. So now we need to go in our 9/16. Alright, so I got a homemade gauge block here, 9/16. I'm going to take it and use it to set my indicator to a 0, and I'm going to set my indicator 10 thousandths over. And so then when I come back in, I'll face that 10 thou back and it'll be nice and flat. Okay, so let's slow our speed down a little bit here. Hardy one at the start, so that's going to be a thread lead in, and not so big a one back there. Okay, so here's the big idea here and also where I went wrong. So we're on the tail end of the Sydney looking at the end-train gearing. And the idea for the force start thread is that, so this gear right here is divisible, it's 32 teeth, so it is divisible by 4. And so the idea is if we could just take that gear off, rotate the spindle to where it was 8 teeth and then slide it back in, then we've advanced 1/4 of our force start thread. This gear is, not much fun to take off. There's a cotter pin on it. This gear is not much fun to take off. It's got a grease nipple, nut, bearings, spacers. Same with this one. This gear is very easy to remove, and in fact, it's still keyed onto the shaft even when it's slid out of mesh, so you can just rotate it and push it back on. So here's where my mistake came in on the first one. I looked at this gear, it says it's a 48 tooth, I indexed it by 12 teeth, and thought I was good to go. Well, of course, it was not good to go because there's already a gear reduction from here to here. Idlers don't matter, of course, but this is 32 to 48. So instead of indexing it 8 teeth like I should have been, I was indexing it 12 teeth, which caused my thread to be, instead of indexing it by a fourth, I was indexing it by 48 over 32 times a fourth. So basically 1.5 times what I wanted. So this next time I went back through and counted off 8 teeth on this gear. I'm still changing it here instead of here. It doesn't matter. Any of these gears I could move by 8 teeth. It doesn't matter which one. This is just the easiest one to get to. So I've marked out 8 teeth on it in 4 positions. And you'll see as I go along, I'm going to, start this gear basically on the 1, and then each time I index it, I'll line it back up with the previous position, and then slide the gear out and rotate it to the next mark. So that's the idea. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so we got our little piece all turned out there. So now it's time to set up the gearbox and set up the compound and everything for threading. Okay, so to start with, we're going to set the gearbox up, and even though it is a 16 pitch thread, it is a 4 lead thread since it's 4 start. So we can go on our plate and find the 4, and it is BD in this slot. So pop it in there. We need to go into from E to D, like that, and we're in B. So we're good to go there. Set our lead screw over here. Okay. And we'll set our spindle speed to as low as it goes, about 20 on this machine. Low, low. Okay. And we'll move gear stack over to the threading position. And we should be good to start the phase converter. Okay, so here's how we're going to set this guy. I'm going to come in close to the part. I'm going to put the handle in a good spot for me. So I want the handle to be right about there. So when I'm retracting it, I can, because it's no relief screw thread, I just whip my hand into it and it will cause it to back out. Okay? Then, because this is a tool room lathe, I'm going to tighten up this little set screw right here on the side, and that gives me a repeatable stop. Same spot each time. And I'm set to 0. So I know it hasn't moved. Go ahead and insert my worn out lathe shim. Okay, so I got that in there. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and start the lathe. Loosen up my compound, and I'm going to touch off the compound. And come off it, and set a 0 on the compound. Alright? Next, I'll back up a little bit, come over to about as far as I'm comfortable threading up to this thing. I don't want to hit it. Maybe about there. And I will set me a 0 on my dial indicator. Okay, and the way I'm going to set the 0 is I'm going to go ahead and put it at 100 thousandths. Right about there. And I'm going to set 0, and that way I have 1 whole turn of warning. So I know that the moment that that dial indicator starts to move, to get ready, and then bam, I should be out by there. And that leaves me almost 30 thousandths of clearance. So that should be plenty. I could maybe even see going a little tighter, but let's not risk it. So my threading tool, you can see I got a standard lay down tool, but what I've done is ground it on a carbide grinder to give it 15 degrees of back relief right there. And theoretically it could hit the shim on a large enough thread, but this thread is small enough to where it won't be in the way of it. Alright, so let's take our first cut. This is a 4 TPI lead screw and a 4 TPI lead, so I can engage the half nuts anywhere I like. Jump into my stop, dial in a few thousandths, and give her a run. Okay, got a cut in there. Like a 4 pitch, and yeah, looks good. Okay, so now we can just go along with our thread. Let's see where that end point ends up. Fairly far, we might have to do an undercut. Dial in about 10 on my compound, about 8. Back into my 0. And the base happens. Okay. How's your tool looking? Looks like it did take the end off our tool, but it's pretty minor, so I'm going to keep cutting with it. Our thread's still a good ways from depth, but we're going to go ahead and rotate it and try and get all 4 done so we can get an over the wire measurement. Rotate this until it comes around to 1. Right there. That out. And slide this gear off. And with it still in its spot, rotate over to 2. Okay. And now we're ready to cut the second start. Looks like it might be in the right spot, but due to the broken off tip, we're not seeing it. So I'm just going to roll with it. I don't know what else I can do. If it's not in the right spot, we'll figure it out. don't know if that turned my tool post or what. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Great. That was stupid. Alright, so we want to index it around to the 2 spot. Did y'all see my mistake? I was a tooth short. No wonder it looked wrong. Bam. Oh, I can't believe I did that. Okay, so now we gotta fix this by putting it at the right spot. There we go. That's why those threads look close together. So that one set of threads might be a little screwed up. We'll see. Okay, so hopefully I've recovered from my crash. Should be on to the 3rd one now. Gave myself 10 extra thou of clearance. I think what happened, the chip got stuck between there and the wall, causing the jam like it would happen. So. Obviously a different width top than the other one. Screw up. So let's go and do the 4th and we can measure over wires. I don't know if it'll do us any good, but we'll try. That's it. That's all 4 starts. So now I'm ready to measure over wires. I'm going to do that off camera because it's fussy. Okay. Got the first one done. I'm going to do the rest all the same, so there's no point in watching that. Alright, well, it took 2 more cycles, but I'm calling it done right there. It's not totally perfect. One thread I cut a tooth off pretty early on, and that caused it to be a little wider, which made it a little funky checking with thread pitch mics, or with over wires. And then corner of that tooth broke off on my insert, so the root's not going to be dead correct, but alright, so it's now been buffed. And a little put on the wire wheel just briefly, just to knock the burrs off. Probably should have used a brass one, but used what I had. And so there it is. Should be 4 starts visible out on that end there. Don't know if it'll work. Might. We'll see.